This is a call to order for the August Historic Preservation Commission meeting, August 6th at 6 p.m. The Historic Preservation Commission will not hear new items after 9:30 p.m. unless authorized by a majority vote of the commission members present. Items which have not been heard before 9:30 p.m. may be continued to the next regular meeting or a special meeting date as determined by the commission members. I'll look for an adoption of the minutes.
Please do a roll call.
Oh, whoops. Yeah. Let's do a roll call, please.
Chairman Evan Goodwin.
Here.
Vice Chairman Joe DePaul.
Here.
Commissioner Carly Frazier. Commissioner Jim Hess.
Here.
Commissioner Tim Probst. Here. Commissioner Debbie Wonder. Commissioner Lisa Solka. Here.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll look for adoption of minutes.
I'm going to accept.
Any second?
I will second that.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do you have any public comment? Okay, we're gonna move, and no old business, we'll move to new business. Go for the 4 head at a time.
Good evening. The first item tonight is 4 Head of Tide, and the applicant, Andrew Brown, on behalf of the property owner, Henry Savage, is requesting approval of a COFA, a historic district, to enclose a covered porch, approximately 126 square feet, in order to expand a kitchen and to provide a new laundry room and mudroom. Property, again, is at 4 Head of Tide, Old Town Bluffton, Neighborhood Conservation District. This is the location map here. The main house is located here, and the approximate location of the expansion is where the star is. Here is the site plan. The area in yellow is actually a covered porch, and that's the location of the proposed expansion. And here you see various views of the house. This porch right here is the space that will be enclosed. And a couple of views you see here from both the south elevation and the east elevation. The enclosure materials will match the house. And there's a full light door that's proposed, and there are other full lights, as you see, on the existing house, which would match that. Materials match, as well as windows. Given their 4 review criteria, it does appear to meet and conform with the requirements of the UDO. And staff is recommending approval without any conditions.
Are there any questions for staff? Questions for the applicant? The applicant's here, I believe. Can you get a motion?
I move to approve the COFA HD application as submitted by the applicant.
And a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion is approved. Next up is 43 Thomas Street.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Alrighty, the next item on the agenda is 43 Thomas Hayward. The applicant is George Hudson of GTH Construction for property owner Megan Beach. The request is to approve a COFA to add a shed dormer and convert a portion of the attic space of an existing 2-story residence into a loft room and bathroom of approximately 240 square feet. Property is located at 43 Thomas Hayward and is zoned neighborhood general. And here you see the zoning map and location map. And I do want to add that there is no landscaping or site elements changing, only to the existing house that you see here. And the proposal would be located on the left elevation. And here are the floor plans indicating the new space. The loft areas, it's actually in the attic space. And you can see here they're changing that space into the loft room as well as a bathroom. And here is the proposed dormer, again on the left side of the elevation. We did work with the applicant to make some improvements to locate the windows to be consistent with or over the windows on the second floor. And so the applicant did that. The dormer cannot be located in the center of the roof because of the stairs that are within the interior. And so the applicant has made those changes. The exterior materials will match the existing house, and so there's no concern with what's being proposed. Here is the roof section, or the wall section, as well as the roof plan, if you need more details. Staff believes that the 4 criteria of the UDO have been met, and the actions of the HPC are to approve as submitted, require conditions, or deny the application. It is the recommendation of staff that the COFA application be approved. The applicant did provide the wall section, which I just showed, and so there are no conditions, and staff is making a recommendation of approval. And I had the two suggested motions here, and probably the second one would be best. I approve to approve the application without conditions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for staff? No questions, no. None for the applicants either?
Okay, and I'll move to approve the COFA HD application without conditions.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you. So moving on to 36 Bruin Road, certificate of appropriateness.
Okay, the applicant for the next COFA is James Atkins of Court Atkins Group for property owner ABPAL LLC. And the request is to construct a new 2-story commercial building of approximately 3,130 square feet at 36 Bruin Road, located in Old Town and a neighborhood general zoning district. And you see the location here on the plan, and you may be familiar with the Court Atkins property right now. That property has been subdivided, and the proposed new construction would be located near Bruin Road, where you see the star. Here are photos of the property. Right now, it's partially wooded, and there is a portion of the parking lot for the Court Atkins building. And here you see both Court Atkins building located here, and then the proposed building here, and then a larger screenshot of the building. The yellow is little memory jogs for me to talk about. This is the proposed elevations for the building. And right now it will be all commercial. It has characteristics of a side yard house, but it is an additional building type because there will be no residential on the second floor. And the elevation facing Bruin is the one in the upper left. And I'll go through those with you. Again, this is the front elevation facing Bruin Road. It does include storefront windows. The area that I've identified here in yellow and the window beneath it are fixed windows. Those fixed windows would have to be approved by HPC. You would need to make a determination if they are appropriate because fixed windows are not permitted by the UDO. The applicant has also requested composite shutters on both the first and second floors. Here is the right elevation. This is the elevation that faces into the existing parking lot. You can see Bahamas shutters. Let me go back here to the front elevation. The entry here that you see would be, again, appearing as a side yard house, but there's also a secondary entrance along the parking area. The porch in the back would include HVAC units on the second floor, and staff is requesting a determination of appropriateness if that's an appropriate location. We did check with the building department. They said the HVAC units at that location are acceptable, and they would be screened. You see railings there, but the HVAC units would also be screened with wood louvers. The brick would require a determination, as I interpret the UDO, And then the columns that you see here are wood wrapped in fiberboard or cementitious board. So that is another inconsistency with the UDO and would require a determination. Here is the left elevation. As indicated in the staff report, there was somewhat of a concern, and this really requires HPC's guidance, whether or not these windows should be a little bit taller to match the windows to the right. These are fairly deep brackets, and I'll show you another view here. You can see the bracket. And again, there's the two-story patio in the rear. At the ground level, this appears to be screened, and so we're asking for a little information regarding that. The service yard located outside outside of the roof. And then here are various sections, if you need to see that, as well as details. I want to go back to the landscape plan. As you see here on the right, or excuse me, the left elevation, there is a stairwell that comes down, and there seems to be an inconsistency with the landscape plan, the stairwell, and actually I may be incorrect here, the stairwell may be right here, but we want to make certain that there's no landscaping blocking that sidewalk. The UDO also requires that landscaping be 8 feet from the foundation of the building, and this is showing along the property line out towards Bruin Road, and so that would need to be adjusted. ADA accessibility, there will be a parking space on Bruin Road, and so that accessibility would come from Bruin Road, and we need to see some additional details regarding that entrance. So the review criteria does seem to be met. There are some conditions. If those conditions are met, would seem to comply with the UDO requirements. And so staff is requesting some determinations here regarding the applicant's plan. The location of the HVAC equipment on the second story rear patio. Again, it is permitted by building code. It's a bit of a different location from other commercial that we've seen. Typically, it's at ground level. You will have to approve the brick that's proposed. The applicant indicated it will be a moss, I believe it's Moss Town, which is sort of a brownish looking brick, which is typical of the area. The wrapping of the wood columns with the cementitious trim. The allowance of storefront windows on the front elevation, and then the wood composite shutters. There are some conditions as well that you see here. Screening of the ground floor patio. We need the screening detail for the HVAC equipment. Identify the fiberglass window material in the window schedule. 4, this is where there's an interpretation that would be needed from you regarding whether or not those windows, as they've been shown on the second floor elevation, on the left elevation, are appropriate. And then some identification of material for the patio door, as well as submission of the manufacturer's cut sheets for the lights that are proposed. And regarding the landscaping that I mentioned, 8 feet foundation plantings required, making certain that we have no landscaping blocking that stairway on the left elevation, showing the ADA accessibility, and then providing a site feature for any signage in the future. So it seems like a lot of conditions, but it's pretty minor. Your actions tonight are either to approve as submitted by the applicant, approve with conditions, or deny the application. And with that, we are suggesting the conditions that were identified, as well as asking for you to make the determinations for 1 through 5 that I mentioned previously. And I can go back to that slide or any other slides if you'd like to discuss.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff first?
Just if she could put those conditions back on the
Sure.
screen, are the items we need to address with the applicant?
Yeah, I think I'd like to go through the determinations first.
Okay.
Would we like to hear from the applicant?
Sure, we can do that first.
Yeah.
Yeah, is the applicant, yes.
Good evening, James Atkins with Court Atkins Group, representing AbPal. As far as the comments of the review, I didn't see anything that was insurmountable there. We can make a majority of those adjustments. We can go through them. I'm happy to answer questions if you just want to run through them all. Again, every application is individual, just for longevity of the columns. They are wood structural columns. We just like to wrap them in a cementitious material for longevity and better paint. The shutters, a majority of the hinge shutters are on the second floor. We do have the one on the bottom just because, but it is somewhat away from the public way. And we would really like to have the Bahama shutters as a composite, just from a maintenance and durability standpoint, but we would use a wood composite material. Would be thick and it's not going to be an expensive endeavor there. So just ask for your consideration on a couple of those things. Met with the landscape architect. We'll make any modifications that we need. We did identify the windows as Marvin Elevate in our response letter, but we didn't put the name on the actual schedule. So we'll clean that up, no problem. Lighting cut sheets, no problem. The ADA accessible route, I'm not sure what details we're looking for, but that was all provided in the development plan review and planning commission and identified in the civil drawings. So if they need an extra copy of that, we can get it to HPC, but they should have that on record. And signage, the brick, I think is probably, brick columns are allowed, brick wall services in the UDO, it says they're encouraged where possible. As long as you're using local brick. I'm not aware of any brick manufacturers in Bluffton, but we did specify Cherokee, which is one that we've used, which is on Station 30, which the town has used. We specified it on many others. It's a tumbled brick. The building next door is a painted brick. We thought it would be just a nice application as a transition on the lower section. And bricks columns are allowed, so we're really probably just talking about the little bit of wall surface above the columns. So we would ask for your consideration as that being an acceptable material and in its limited location and knowing that it'll be a nice looking brick exposed to the main public way. And service yards, talking with their neighbors and everything, so they're not looking down on them or right next to their pool. We creatively put them up on the second floor, which actually gets them out of the public way even more, and off the Tabby Road sidewalk. And with the view angles and everything, and them being 12 feet in the air, we felt like it was a nice way to not put HVAC units right on their sidewalk and everything there. So it was an intentional endeavor to put them up there and hide them even more from the public realm. And I think that covers most of them. So happy to answer any other questions or address any other concerns you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Is it brick, is it like a different kind of material than brick, or is it, what does it make? Is it brick?
Yeah, it's a solid.
Okay, so
The sample is thin,
That's
The
but
sample's thin. No, it's a solid full brick.
brick, which is.
Yeah, no. This is it's a real coarse queen size brick. Again, Station 30 is all brick. It's pretty much that. It's a tumbled Savannah Gray-like looking brick. So, and again, I don't know what defines local, but Cherokee's in Macon, Georgia. It's 190 miles away. It's probably the closest brick manufacturer to this area. So we felt like that was a good choice to meet the requirements.
Okay.
I don't have any questions, no.
I got questions. What are what's the shutter manufacturer that you're going to use? Because composite can mean a lot of things.
I don't know the actual manufacturer, but once we price it out, we can provide that to the staff.
Yeah, they can mean a lot of things. They can be, there's some cheap composite shutters.
100%. I promise you, being representative of our firm and being on our property, it won't be a cheap shutter, but I can get you.
Yeah, we can just get that detail.
Absolutely.
And then I got one more thing. I think the building looks great overall. There's just one question on the brackets over the stairs. Was there a reason you used a different bracket than everywhere else? the tall, slender brackets that are on the other two sides of the building?
It's a bigger overhang and just keep head clearance and perception of kind of knocking your head when you're going down the stairs. But
It just kind of looks more clunky than the other ones that have a really nice detail.
it is shallower. I mean.
It is, that's 7 feet, the other ones are, the other side are 4 feet, it looks a little clunky to me.
Okay. I mean, we could certainly thin those up or restudy the bracket if feel it's important. Again, you probably never see them in context to each other. They're
Right.
different sides and it'll be wooded on that side, but
Yeah, you got that, I'm just looking at this thing, you got that beam that goes straight across and then kind of dies in the end, and then it turns to siding.
it was a design consideration.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want them to mirror a little bit more closer to each other, no worries there. Maybe think about the front. This is a slab on grade project, so there really isn't an exposed foundation, but we wanted to create a little garden area in front of the building, which is why the foundation buffer was pushed out to the street to define the edge. I understand that we haven't defined all of the perennials and florals in there, but that was the intention of that area. So it'll all be landscaped from building to sidewalk. But that's why there's on the landscape plan, a gap there. It's meant to be kind of a small garden area on the foreground as you enter into the property.
Okay.
That made me think of a question. Planted or in beds? Because I really do think the planting should be within our setbacks so we can be a little more uniform. So question on that. Do you think
Planted garden.
The windows that are the larger windows, I couldn't find on the site plan what that looked into. Is there a reason you did a 6-pane rather than a little more siding and then the traditional 4-pane on the bottom, where on the left side, the yellow and the blue?
From the,
What's on the inside? I couldn't find why those big windows were there. Is it just
it's going
for
to be
light?
a bay area, and so the spacing of that, to fill in the entire section of that, so we didn't have out of room, otherwise we probably would have gone 2 and 2 and carried it. So it's the pane spacing is all the same marching around, we just
Yeah.
ended up being 3 wide instead of 2 wide, and it meant to be kind of a glass corner bay.
Okay, and I thought that, I just couldn't find it. And
No worries.
I don't have architectural lingo, so I apologize.
And we couldn't get a casement, like, an operational casement that large but it would be built like the casement window, so it would not be a direct set or anything like this. It would have the same style and rail and everything as the windows around the corner.
I just worried for commercial, like for fire standards and all that. So it's part of a bigger room. They would have access to some window that,
Correct. Oh, let's here, these windows right here, those 4.
Correct, but just let the record show that Commissioner Carlita Frazier joined the meeting at 6:22 p.m.
thank you.
Thanks, sorry. I didn't even see her come in. These 4 windows right here on the other side as they turn the corner are all casement windows.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
So I don't have a problem with the brick. And there's brick, and I want to speak to kind of part of your narrative and your response on the height and all on that road. But across the street in the town limits, there is brick. And then Myrtle's post office, whatever that building was, is brick. I like the idea of it. So when we come to that, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem moving the HVAC up on the second floor. The less things you see like that on the ground, I think it's smart if it can be screened. Thank you for lowering it a little bit. I do think it's tall. I really do believe that Bruin down the road, because somebody that's an architect is probably going to handle the northern side at one point. This is mostly a 1 and a 1.5 story street. Take away Tabby because that's a PUD. So please, please think through that if one of y'all ever get something on the northern side, because it is we are a 1-story town. We just do a lot of additional building types. And so all of a sudden now we are building 2-story places, but great. Other than that, I don't think I have the trim. I think we've got to be more reasonable and what's longer lasting. So I'm interested in that cementitious trim. It might be something we should consider, because if it, we're in a salty area, we're in the low country. So whatever keeps things from peeling, to me, as long as they fit within our historic district and our guidelines, I am fine with. I don't think I had any other questions from him. That's all the questions and the comments I had.
Okay, good. Are there any specific issues with any of the determinations we're making from anybody on the commission? I don't have any issues with any.
My notes were just that, for number 4, that the windows should be sash set, not direct set, as Mr. Atkins stated, and that we would like to review a sample. Is that typically, Charlotte, is that usually a staff review? I think you guys have reviewed those in the past.
That or HPRC can review.
Okay. So either we do that at the HPRC level or.
Yeah, we can add that into the conditions to review at HPRC if that's okay. Okay, any other questions for the applicant while he's up here? Based on any of the other conditions? Okay. Thank you. All right.
Just in case.
Sure. Let's talk through the conditions then. Does anybody have any issues with any of the conditions? Start down with Tim. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's a whole nother page. I mean, I think they should remain.
Okay. And then what about the 8-foot foundation planting requirement? Do we consider gardens, flower beds as foundation planting? Does that?
The requirement is 8 feet, foundation plantings at the front of around the building because it is commercial. Let me go to that slide. So what is shown it's a combination of camellias and podocarpus, and at maturity, these are going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 feet in height. So it's really creating more of a private space in the front yard, which is atypical of other Bluffton commercial uses. So that may be a determination.
Okay.
We have indicated that it should be changed to comply with the UDO, but if you feel differently, that should be a determination.
Are there any strong feelings one way or another?
I mean, I think that could be a fun idea. It seems like if you're going to plant annuals and perennials in that area, that you might still want some grasses or something just to soften, because there's not a lot of raised foundation in the front along those windows, but I think you want something there at that crook between the face of the building and the ground to sort of soften that. That's probably not just some flowers. So, like a little line of grasses or liriope or something. Perhaps.
I'm confused over that. Like, why are y'all, I mean, I think it's cool and very, resilient type, but is it a community garden?
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, we've got 20 feet of foundation buffer between the building and the sidewalk, so there's no patio or, things out there. We just haven't developed yet. We wanted to kind of define an edge along the sidewalk there. If you look at the improvements we made on, to Bruin, we added a hedge of podocarpus along the parking lot edge there, again, just to kind of give some foreground. But if you feel strongly, we could add a hedge, a boxwood hedge or something along the actual building edge and create an in-between. We can move one layer from one side to the other. This is not I'm not going to die on the sword on the land. I've got Jonathan here if he's got any creative ideas. But that was just the thought, is to kind of create a little bit more of a passive garden area on the foreground and define an edge along the sidewalk.
Okay.
But it will all be landscaped area.
Why wouldn't you think about reversing that and doing because those are going to grow to 5-7 feet in 3 years. Why wouldn't you put the lower plantings in front and then move those back within that 8 foot that's
Try to a little bit of a front yard perspective from the large front windows. So it's not right up there, so when you're looking out your window, you have kind of a nice front yard to look at. We thought it'd be a great idea, looking out these big, beautiful storefront windows and have a nice garden out there and kind of define the edge along the sidewalk with a couple, the smaller hedges up on the sidewalk, the larger ones behind it, with the camellias and everything, but, that was the thinking. We got 20 plus feet. We had to pull the building back because of the sewer line out there, so we've got 20 feet of landscape material to play with. This is what was approved with the, through the development plan process, with the kind of a front yard area right up against the building. If it was a raised foundation, we were 30 inches out of the ground, I'd think differently. I'd give us a hedge, but since we're basically at grade, and with the large windows out there, not unlike when you walk down 46 and the large storefront windows are right on the sidewalk, but we don't have a sidewalk, so we'll have a garden.
Is there like grass or something between there and the building?
Grass, perennials, flowering, things that get swapped out. So, again, if you want us to take the stuff, push it up against the building, I'm not gonna.
Anybody feel very
sleep over it.
strongly either
We
way?
just thought it would be this nice front yard area out these large windows and push the foundation hedge a little further out. So when they grow up, they're not sitting in front of the large storefront windows.
Yeah.
Where is the sidewalk? Is it right on, I rode by there on the way, I
It
should
is
have looked. Is it
up on
right at the
Right at
property
the property
line?
line, it is right on it. So all of there's about 20, we had to go 20 feet off the sewer lines. There's almost 25 feet, 20 feet maybe, of foreground. And this is the accessible
Sidewalk,
route,
yeah.
so it ties right in here. So we wanted to pull that edge out, create something that didn't sit in front of the large storefront windows. So when you're inside looking out, you see a nice garden.
I guess it being so close to that sidewalk, and I know how fast those plants grow down here. I mean, y'all are gonna be gardening and architecting and trimming bushes.
Well,
I
to
mean,
be
that
fair,
is gonna,
Joe Bryant will be doing the
Okay, well,
landscaping
he's
and the
got-
gardening and the trimming and everything. He does a
got
great
job
job.
security.
Yes.
I just don't want it to grow into that, because that's when the council will get the complaints that they can't
I
run on
agree.
it. So if you could pull it back just a bit, to me, it just gives it room to grow, but that's on one.
It does seem like
six.
that's more of a 10-foot wide space, because it's the 10-foot building setbacks from your property line, right? So then it's like another 5 or 6 to the front.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So, depending on where you're at in the building. So, I mean, we can ensure that the hedge is, off the sidewalk and provides growing room at maturity, something like that. We'll make it work.
Okay. Any other?
I think it should be, since they have the panels, it should have some cover underneath that, below the glass, if the glass all the way down the ground. It just seems like, you got the grass right up to it.
I'm hearing, I think we'll leave the condition in there, but if you bring maybe one layer back,
This
so
one,
you can
yeah.
still have that yard feel.
Something that's low,
Garden feel.
this goes,
Yeah.
up to the glass.
Yep,
so-
no worries. We can plant something small, like I said, a little boxwood hedge or something, or whatever the appropriate indigenous material is. I'll speak plants. Is that good? Okay. The other thing that was one of the conditions that we wanted to talk through was these windows. These were pulled up to provide countertop space behind them. Felt strongly about them, but the plane of that is, there's a good 6+ feet of difference between this face and this face, or, 4 or 5 feet, whatever it is. So we didn't, when you look at it in elevation, I could see why you might respond that those should be lower, but that's why they were pushed back to line up with the base of the bracket and provide countertop space.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
I think the portions are pretty close, so that would
Okay. So that's a condition we'll likely leave out.
Okay, put it back here. Okay.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion or questions? No? Then I'm looking for a motion. Someone would like to make one?
Can she go to the page that has the one condition we're removing? I don't know
Or-
which one it
Right here, it's
is.
number 4.
Number 4 was, oh, okay, I was thinking 4 was the two larger ones, okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve when she pulls it up, is it a COFA? What are we approving?
And, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
does staff have a proposed motion on this one? Because we also have those 5 conditions.
Yeah, we.
The
determinations.
determinations.
Right. So I may need to go back. So let me go back to the determinations.
Can we
So
make
these
2
are the-
motions?
Absolutely, you can do it in two
Okay,
motions if you'd like.
and let's handle the determinations first. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'll give it a shot. Regarding 36 Bruin, I move that we agree to the determinations as listed, 1 through 5, Richardson, or do you want me to read them?
And there were some to number 4 and number 5, I believe there was some alternate language regarding number 4, the sash set windows to be reviewed by HPRC.
Yeah, I've only got a comment, so I'll keep talking. And the applicant to provide the samples on the items,
The shutters.
shutters 5 to
PRC.
HPRC.
Yes.
Okay. And just to confirm before there's a second, it's a motion to approve the following determinations regarding listed 1 through 5 as set out by staff with the requirement that the wood composite shutters be presented to HPRC for approval as to suitability of material.
Yes.
Why didn't you make the motion then?
I tried to stand up, but I was a little slow. I apologize.
Okay,
There needs to be a second.
so we're clear on that. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, those determinations are approved as stated. Now we're looking for a motion for the conditions, or for an approval with conditions. It's 4, and I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the submission with staff recommendations for the conditions, with the exception of item 4, that the windows labeled C are fine to remain. We have a second?
I will second that motion.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is passed.
Mr. Chairman, just for everybody's benefit here, and I think it was clear, but just to make sure that the condition regarding the landscaped area or the landscape buffer was kept in there, but as stated by the commission, it's about making sure to bring those foundational plantings back a little bit and provide a little bit more substance toward the front of the building. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody
Good.
was clear there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, moving on to item 4, certificate of appropriateness for 36 Wharf Street.
Alrighty, the applicant is Jamie Guccio of Kingfisher Construction for property owners Kathy Barbina and Tim Harris. The request is to allow the construction of a new 2-story carriage house of approximately 1,200 square feet. The property is located again at 36 Wharf Street in Old Town and is zoned Neighborhood General Historic District. This is the location of the property. There is an existing house presently on the property. The location of the carriage house would be at the end of the driveway where you see these 2 trees, which are proposed to be removed. Here is the site plan. The area in blue is the approximate location. You can see that the stairs are located on the north side of the building, and they are permitted to be 3 feet off the property line, as is the service yard. Here are the proposed elevations of both the existing house and the carriage house, and we've indicated the height here, which I'll come back to. That is one of our concerns. Here's the front elevation, and again, I've highlighted some areas in yellow that are intended to be discussed. Here is the left elevation. This is facing into the backyard. The right elevation, the stairs I just spoke of, and the rear elevation. We've got the floor plans available if we need to see those, as well as the sections. And let me go back to the slide regarding the height. The UDO does require that the carriage house be secondary to the main house, and although this is by a matter of inches, it still seems very tall, and that was a concern of staff. Additionally, there are some proportion issues related to the drawings that were submitted. The dormers seemed a bit tall. The windows look somewhat awkward within the dormer as well. The posts that are shown seem to be not substantial enough, and so one of the recommendations is that they be wider, that they actually be columns. They are located farther apart than they all are tall, and so that's another outstanding issue. The eaves as well seem fairly wide, fairly long, and so that is a concern of staff. And HPRC indicated that they wanted to see some details regarding the lower roof here, as well as to check to see how the header was wrapped, and we do not have that information. After a discussion with HPRC, the applicant did provide a gable vent to match the house, but we still continue to be concerned with the blankness of this particular elevation. This area here, the expression line or the band seems to be fairly similar in size to that of the lapboard siding, which is the hardy plank, as are most of the other materials. And then, again, left elevation, somewhat blank, but there is the door that you see there. So the review criteria, again, there are 4 that require compliance, and so there are some determinations that staff is requesting from the HPC, as well as compliance with conditions, and if based on the determinations and the conditions being met, the review criteria would be met. So these are the proposed findings by staff. We are asking for a determination regarding the appropriateness of certain building proportions, including the building height, the front porch widths, post widths, the width between the post, the eave length, the window placement, the dormer placement, and the height of the expression line. Regarding conditions, the first is a request for the vent material that was not identified. Provide the door and window schedule on the plan, provide the garage roof detail, show that a minimum of 75% tree canopy coverage at maturity will be provided, given that the 2 trees are now proposed to be removed. And then a tree removal permit application is required, and I believe that they've already applied for that. With that, you can either approve this application as submitted, approve with conditions, or deny. And again, staff is, I haven't identified all those conditions here, but this is just some wording to help you make the motion. Again, there are determinations as well as conditions. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions for staff first? The applicant here to present?
Yeah.
Good evening. Jamie Gusho, representing Tim and Kathy at 36 Wharf Street. Answer the questions.
And do we have specific questions for the applicant?
I'll start.
Sure.
So I went back after our meeting yesterday and reread the master plan, Old Town Master Plan, because I really appreciate that document. And it specifically talks about Wharf Street and the character and preserving the canopy. So I'm more concerned on those trees, and I think this, and the height, but I think this carriage home with being just one garage, you could move it further south in a way to keep those trees, because those trees were there to give the owner approval for his house. And now we're taking down his trees that were counted in his house tree canopy. So I don't know if that's a question or a desire on how you can move it, lower it, and save those trees. So those are my 3 questions on that.
Regarding the trees, one is the gum and the other one's the laurel oak. They've already applied for a removal of both trees, specifically the laurel oak. They've got an arborist there to check it, make sure it's okay, but just not, it's got fissure cracks. And laurel oaks are kind of like water oaks. You don't know they're bad until it's on your house. So they're concerned with that, and with the location of the carriage house, it just goes straight back. I know it's a one-car garage, but it's actually a two-car garage. It looks like a one car, but it's two car, but it's, I understand what you're going with that.
Is that on, but it's only one garage door?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. So that's about those two trees. Obviously, they really don't want to take it out, but having arborists look at it and looking at, by plain eye, it does have fissure cracks about, I was going to say 6 feet, but I'll go higher than that, probably 10 feet and higher on several sides, a hole in the bottom. So that's kind of about that.
And I don't know if that would have been helpful to me Thursday when I was reading through this, to know that. And I don't know in the future if that's something we all can discuss to make sure it comes
Yeah,
in, because I know you and I believe you, but I'd rather see an arborist say that, and then I would not have
Yeah, well,
wasted 2 minutes.
They applied for the removal months ago, but since they said just wait for this process before removing the trees. Okay. If that makes sense.
Sadly,
I
it
would-
does.
Yeah.
And I know there was just one taken out on the corner of Lawrence and Wharf last week as well.
That one did have structural damage when we approved that one, when we reviewed that project. And they had a letter. I think it would be nice to have a letter as part of the review. I mean, because there's a lot of flexibility
I
within the
honestly
site
thought
plan
that the town
to address
had the
that.
letter, to be honest with you, because they did submit an application, like I said, months ago. I haven't seen it since, but I can get that letter for you.
Okay.
The height, there's one house that has a carriage home taller than the house I found it today, and it's on Pritchard Street. So
Yeah.
Most of the old town carriage houses, the second floor is at least partially under roof by dropping that bearing. And there's 9 feet to the bottom of a truss that has an entire foot of heel that doesn't really have a structural need there. Yeah. So I think there's still quite a bit of height that could come out as structure without really sacrificing any particular luxury in the design of it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, typically on this, that roof on the second floor, that plate height is 7 foot, and the dormer is 9 foot, and you're 9 foot on that plus another foot. It's really tall. And then there's a lot of headroom between the actual windows and the dormer, between the head of the window and the plate of the dormer. I mean, that's like 2 feet. Usually that should be more like a foot. But you really can't bring that down unless you bring the other roof down. It's just, everything is just way taller than it should be for a carriage house. I mean, I think a foot is definitely on the first floor, should be taken out. I mean, it's more, I think, on the second floor. It still gives you plenty of space on there.
And as staff has pointed out, the proportions on the exterior really aren't helping at all, helping the case. The columns are very tall and skinny. The siding
You can
on,
beef up the columns, and it's.
the kind of whole blank side on the one side that has a weird.
Yeah, we
bottom, middle,
went back
top,
and forth
bottom.
about that. We were talking about maybe possibly putting in some fake shutters or something, but there are no other shutters on the house. And then we talked about putting a window there, but the location of the window won't line up with the location of the window underneath it.
You look at both, I mean, there's two opportunities. There's a closet in there, and there's a closet that's almost a laundry room, and then there's a bathroom too. There's two opportunities to put windows on that wall.
There are, but then the lining up of the,
The windows below, what do they line up with?
they're lining up with the back of the garage.
I mean, could those windows move, I guess, it's, yeah. I mean, could you move those windows in the home gym and the home office to align with the windows above it? It looks like you have some opportunity to,
The best opportunity would be in the laundry room as opposed to the bathroom. I would think.
Yeah.
I would say it's not very convincing that anybody tried to work on that elevation between the short base and then the weird tall middle and top proportion of all of the banding and the kind of free ability to shift all the windows and doors around here. I mean, the plan really, now that I'm looking at it, doesn't look like the windows that, and doors that are equally spaced on that elevation are really drawn in the same spot in the floor plan. So it sort of makes me wonder whether anybody actually really bothered to study on that side.
But Charlotte and I, we looked at it at our last meeting, but
So an idea could be, and I'm not y'all, the window in the laundry room, I think absolutely could fit with the home gym. You could move your sink to your toilet to your sink, and then you have plenty of room behind that. I've seen windows behind toilets. I know you need a mirror and lights behind the sink. Maybe there's some reworking of that. And then it would align with the window in the home office, and then you don't have to move the windows downstairs over any. Now, that's a very novice suggestion. But looking at it, it does look very blank on that one side.
Yeah, you might even flip the shower and the toilet,
There's
actually.
a lot of-
There's a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah, that toilet can move where the sink is and you can put it over the toilet. I mean, there's different opportunities to shift that and get a window in there.
Yeah, I am concerned now that Joe pointed out that the windows on the first floor are not in the same position that they are on the elevation. They look evenly spaced on that left elevation, and they're not evenly spaced on the floor plan of the ground floor.
You're getting there.
on the left,
Yeah. Other questions, thoughts? There's quite a bit to look at here.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going through the, like the staff findings of the, kind of asking us to take a look at the proportions, you know, the height, I feel like there's lots of opportunity to shorten it, and there's inconsistency in the drawings here, just as we flip through that, the second floor is labeled 10 feet there instead of 9 feet, like a couple other spots. So I think there's quite a bit to be done there. The posts are skinny and, you know, I would want to see them brought back into the proportion, the spacing between the columns to the height, that's consistent with the UDO, that they be kind of the column spacing be narrower than the height of the column bay. And at least 8-inch posts instead of the 6 inches shown. The eaves at the 2 feet are really wide. It's weird. It doesn't even match the existing house, and the eave depth here on the side, the eave depth and the rake, I don't think really match the existing house, and I think they should. And I think it would, you know, I think a lot of work needs to happen on this elevation here.
So I guess the question is, are we comfortable with staff reviewing this, or is this something that we would not be comfortable kicking back, or we want to see at the HPC level again?
I don't think that I'm gonna get to somewhere where I would feel comfortable making a motion that just gets staff reviewed at this point. I mean, even the expression line, I think, has some work into where it is and the size of the expression line, kind of like has been pointed out.
Yeah, I'm at the same place. I'd like to go through another round of some careful thought into the design. Any other thoughts?
I'm in agreement. I mean, just looking at, and everybody has already voiced, so I didn't say too much in regards to the height and then the proportion, the way that it is there. So I 100% agree with all that's been said.
Okay. So, yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, you have criteria that you have to evaluate every application under. And the first one is that consistency with the Old Town Master Plan. That's where we get into the height, the scale, the massing of the building. And it seems that at this point, HPC, at least 3 of the 6 that are there, but I think from hearing everybody, it sounds like they're uncertain that you can meet that criteria at the moment. Not trying to put words in your mouth, but what you can do is you have the ability to approve with conditions, or deny an application. You can also, if the applicant is willing to go back and wants to present again before HPC, like you have indicated you prefer, with their request, you can table an application and have them present it again once the revisions have been made and they have taken your advice and your comments under consideration, revised it, bring in the arborist letter and everything else, so you'll have a full revised application that is more consistent with the Old Town Master Plan and addresses some of those height and scaling issues. But ultimately, you only have the ability really to do one of those 3 unless the applicant is willing to allow this to kind of go back to for consideration.
So would you like us to take a vote on it, or would you like to table it?
I mean, we're gonna have to basically make the changes according to the notes that I've taken from, the eave width, the table height, all that in accordance to canopy and all that stuff too.
And we've offered this to several other applicants recently where, if you'd like to come into the HPRC and sort of throw some ideas around.
Yeah, I just don't want to lose
and
another
feedback.
month, 2 months, because we've kind of been going back and forth with this.
Yeah,
for a
if
while.
we vote and deny it, it will be a longer process than if
We don't want a longer process.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, I'll get my draftsman tonight, tomorrow.
Okay.
Turn it around if I can get it in for the next meeting. Steph.
So it's.
Can we placehold him for, because
Yeah.
to not keep him 60
Not
days
keep
out,
another-
if it's not a full schedule,
Yeah,
if he gets it to you quickly?
Yes, if we can get it fairly quickly, I wouldn't have any concern with it going on next month's agenda. But I would say if there's any delay, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So just for the record, if you could confirm that you're willing to allow this.
I'm willing to allow this to be tabled.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate you being here.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you need to make a motion to table it, obviously.
I would like to make a motion to table the application for 36 Wharf Street.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is tabled. We go to 27 Bridge Street.
Alrighty. This application is for 27 Bridge. The applicant is Jason, Brown. I may be mispronouncing that, I apologize, of Court Atkins. The property owners are Mike Nearhus and Jessica Foley. They are requesting an amendment to an approved certificate of appropriateness to allow the installed brick foundation to remain on the house under construction directly across the street at 27 Bridge in Old Town, and the property zone neighborhood conservation. Here is the parcel located directly across the street. And the original COFA approval was April 2022, and you can see here that there was actually a brick foundation approved with the horizontal louvers as well. I indicated that the original foundation was tabby, which is incorrect. There had been another amendment back in 2024, and when that amendment was provided, the foundation showed as tabby, but that was never actually approved at COFA level, and they did not request a change to tabby, but it did show up on the drawing, and so I incorrectly identified that in the report. What happened here, this is from Street View, from October 2024. You can see they started doing the brick piers without the louvers in between. And another view, I'm sorry, it's a little bit dark there. This is towards the front of the house on the Bridge Street foundation. And at some point, that inset between the piers was done entirely in brick without the permission and approved COFA amendment. We had discussed with the builder on site as well as the applicant what would be the builder rather, staff, both I and another staff member met with the builder on site and discussed that inset. We indicated that the wood louvers would be appropriate, or possibly brick with pierced bricking, which is appropriate and allowed by the UDO. Instead, it was a solid brick inset that was installed. And so the applicant is now asking that it be allowed to remain. And this is the amendment that you see here. They've basically taken off those louvers. And here's brick detailing. And then there are some additional site changes that have been made. Initially, there was a pool that was proposed to be installed in the back, and they've decided to do a half court, basketball half court, and there's some additional landscaping, hardscaping that's being done, and this will require review by our watershed department. That will need to be a condition of approval. And the review criteria appear to be met or they're not in conformance presently, but if approved by the HPC, they can be met and the conditions are met as well. So the recommendation of staff is that a determination of appropriateness be made regarding the brick that was installed. I do want to add that there is a note on the plan that the minimum height of the privacy fence should be 6 feet. It's actually the maximum. And so we'd like to see that detail be revised. And also the final condition that the town's stormwater and watershed management department approved the landscape plan because of the changes that were made. With that, you can approve as provided by the applicant, approve with conditions, or deny the application. And here is the suggested motion. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Charlotte. Any questions for staff?
So it was approved for wood. Can you go back?
Yes.
For the wood.
So the original approval is what is shown here. So it was brick with the wood louvers underneath the windows. And so this gives the appearance that there's a crawl space.
And they just decided to not go with the approval of what was approved and just do brick all around.
Correct.
But also the brick has not been installed per the detailing because that brick sits proud of all of the band board and the framing above, whereas the detail was for everything to be recessed. Because the detail looks really nice. The brick is pushed back behind the band board.
Yeah,
Which is not at all what is out there. The slab was probably, it looks like, installed to the edge of the framing, and then the brick is all outside of all of that trim work.
Yeah, because there's also a brick row lock course at the top that's not shown in the detail.
Correct.
There, which would not have gone above an opening into a crawl space. I'm kind of at a loss here.
I have a question for Charlotte. Go back to that first picture. So it was brick allowed, and we're looking at if we come out of this town hall, we're running into this side, right? But it's all the way around.
Correct.
Okay, so go back to your drawing where you had that. So the left side where you have kind of rectangular dotted things, I don't know if, and they're over maybe I'm not looking at those. So the board, the hog board, I call it, should be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots, right? Not the left side of the elevation. That was considered brick?
Correct. This was how it was approved back in 2022.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I'm only showing you the elevation that's on the Bridge Street
But
side.
it's all the way around?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and then help me with the 6-foot issue. When I met with
I'm
you to
sorry.
go over it, I was
There's
confused.
a note on the plan that the service yard fence height is a minimum of 6 feet. It should be maximum.
Maximum, okay,
Correct.
thank you. So it's kind of just to get that detail
Wording, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the brick was approved, the tab, because I was under the impression the tabby had been, but it was not.
Correct, yes, I
But
was
it-
wrong.
For all, from the look of it, in my opinion, it looks like somebody installed the foundation like they were doing tabby and not the brick detail. I guess is a question for the applicant, but.
Is the applicant here to?
Jason Bruni with Cord Atkins Architects. We can go back. Oh, actually, let's go back to the. So this is, as Charlotte was saying, this is what was approved. The execution of the foundation detail wasn't exactly as on the drawings. But the intent, it's a slab on grade, so the intent was to show a faux brick pier with a faux louver slats. When the homeowner saw the detail executed in the field, they didn't like the slats and just preferred a solid brick foundation. So that's where we are today. As far as, the UDO, there's a section 5.15.6.G.1 where it talks about exposed foundations, and brick or tabby, solid brick or solid tabby stucco is allowed. So that's the part of the UDO where we're referencing, which we reference in the response about just having a solid brick foundation around the entire house.
I think that's when you present it to us for approval.
Oh, I
Not
agree. No, I agree.
forgiveness
Yeah.
over-
So yeah, certainly.
You're asking for forgiveness.
Yes, certainly the preferred way, the right way is to try to get in here before it's actually executed in the field. And then, unfortunately, it didn't happen that way in this case.
This is you're in the unenviable position of your detail is very nice and exactly how we would expect to see it for a brick foundation where the brick is set in behind the band board, with the historic look and exactly what, we're very pretty much particular about anytime somebody's coming in with brick, unless you're doing some sort of built-in porch look. And we're always having this conversation about the brick detailing. And it's just not installed that way at all, and it's right across the street.
Yeah, and I feel that if we just said, oh, just leave it the way that it is, we're setting a precedent that even though that something was once approved, you can go out in the field, change your mind, and it's okay. And that's not something that should be happening.
Yeah, my main qualm with it is the application of that brick row lock above it. If it weren't for that, I think we could overlook the swap of having brick instead of the louvers, but.
Well, yeah, if it was consistent all the way through, didn't have those indentations, then it would look like a brick base.
Right.
The fact that it's set in, it looks like a pier that was, like Joe said, brick was added on
Yeah.
to the 6 beyond. If that was consistent all the way through, it was a solid brick base, that's another story. You don't have those indentations. That just look like a brick base.
So to build that out.
No, what I struggle with is that it is built out. Like, I think,
Right.
if it was up to me, we'd take all the brick off.
But I think it's an acceptable detail if it goes straight across and doesn't have the indentations, then it's.
Yeah,
a brick
it's
base.
that it,
Then
yeah.
it's not piers.
It's not historic. I know that.
You see,
It's not-
this is not acceptable, but you see that as a brick base with a water table, brick water table.
I feel that something needs to be looked at as what is acceptable, as this is not, and find that solution. How hard is it to remove and put what is acceptable?
Well, it was built for, it would, and you said it probably, the owners didn't like the way it looked. So instead of coming back and asking for approval to do it, the builder bricked it. I think you should go back to what was originally approved. I've seen and heard from people in the past where when staff has gone to look, and one happened on Head of the Tide, and they did the same thing, and that homeowner had to remove it. And I hate it, and I know it's a cost, and the, you know the UDO, the builder should know it. And someone should have told the homeowner, we can't do this, and you're looking at the town of Bluffton across the street. I can't approve it.
I'm the same. Is the builder not here?
They're builders here, but I guess the question is if a solid brick foundation is appropriate, I guess, as well. It would be a question if we're looking to change from a faux louver to a solid brick.
Because at this point, your solution is to basically like thin brick
Yeah, you'd have to thin
around
brick it out. Right.
and have it be solid.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Because of the way that the foundation is set up, it's either tabby stucco veneer or a thin brick application.
That real lock detail was just weird.
That's
That's the big part that's
that's
bugging
not
me.
up here anymore.
No.
So is the foundation recessed for the brick, or is the panel in between the piers thin brick?
Panel, I believe, is thin. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's everybody feel about it being all brick? I'm trying to just look at the sections again about Pearson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with the idea of it being all brick if it weren't for the offset of the brick row lock to imply piers.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to redo that offset so it'd be consistent all the way through. There'd have to be one consistent line. of-
One plane.
Yes,
Yeah.
to go in.
Other thoughts?
I just don't like the fact that they decided to just change their mind in the middle of the construction without coming to us, so.
I guess the question is, if we were to deny it, does the builder know what they would do to, well, it's not really our purview, I guess, how they fix it. Just that it should be fixed to look.
Yeah.
I think it sets a precedent, and it's hard to build an old town, but there's a reason why values are so high, and we follow our UDO, and this was done right across the street from Town Hall, and I think it needs to go back to what was approved. I didn't approve it. I don't know if they would approve, I don't know if y'all would have approved it if it came to us originally, or if it would be a request for us to make a determination.
Well, that's the question, what was approved last?
It was the,
Piers, because the piers.
But this was
Never, you go back to that because
the
it's
you know,
supposed to be brick to start with.
Well, I think she said it would, I think she made a mistake.
No, it was, the tabby was not never approved. It
Yeah.
was.
yeah, so it was the brick.
Charlotte said it was
Brick
a
was
mistake.
approved with
It was
the
always
foot
brick.
Yeah, this was what was
Louvers.
approved. So like the solid, basically solid brick here, then basically, so the difference is,
the end, which is right, that end, which is right up on the street, was approved to look like brick piers with hog penning, and that was all detailed really nicely to sit back behind the band board like we would expect.
But the question is, can we ever go back to that, because that's gonna be no matter what, in front of it. If you took that water table off, it's gonna be in front of the brick piers are gonna be in front of the band board, right?
they are actually.
Go to that picture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the slab is the.
brick,
edge of
it's,
You can't change that. Is that a thin brick or is that a real brick?
it's built out a little bit. It's a couple layers. It's not a full thick.
You can't,
The panel is thin brick in between the
but I
piers.
understand that, but is the piers
The actual
itself?
brick on the pier.
Is that thin brick or is that real brick?
Let me go to that.
What is that? It's thin brick?
No,
That's real brick. if you took that water table off, that band board would still be further back,
Right.
A little bit, yeah, I think so.
Yes, you'd have to build the band board out.
unless you replace, yeah.
Well, that's not gonna look right. I mean, the solution in my mind
That's
is
not-
thin brick all the way around, or it's heavy stucco all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna be a pier, that water table needs to go.
Yeah, I was looking for whether there's a particular requirement to have the underpinning versus solid. I'm not seeing it, but I'm searching through quickly, but it would certainly be encouraged. If it was going to be thin brick all the way around, I'd want to see what a corner sample looks like of that. It does look like tile coming together.
Gotcha.
Right.
Right, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't want that edge.
Yeah, either corner of the L shapes, then we're,
Yeah.
can't have this.
Right.
But the field looks nice enough. It looks like the full brick side by side when you walk past it.
So it's kind of hard to make a motion on it, 'cause we'd be saying, we vote to, approve with the condition that it's either finished in tabby stucco or in thin brick, provided there's a material sample shown ahead of time.
But that's still changing what was originally.
Right, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm trying to avoid just denying it, because that doesn't give any guidance as to what we're,
Well, if we denied it, we would have to say to revert back to the original approval. And can you stucco brick? Are you saying to stucco over the brick that was put in wrong?
When you look at the
Take
the
that brick
detail,
down and re-stucco?
Yes, you take
That
the brick
is in
down.
front of the band board.
Right.
where the face of the brick was supposed to be is actually the face of the foundation, because it was never recessed. So we're building out, you have to build out from there. You can either do thin brick or stucco to really get the right look.
Again, I feel that we're setting a precedent here.
And this is just how I feel. It needs to go back to whatever was approved.
so if we vote to deny it, then they'll still have to come back with another submittal for the approval of what they would like to do beyond the originally approved.
So currently, what is approved is the brick foundation piers with the louvers.
Right.
And what they're requesting is a solid brick foundation. So if you deny a solid brick foundation, then the existing application and existing approval remains. So what is they're permitted to build is the brick piers with the louvers, as y'all saw earlier. What I'm gathering, and I'm not an architect, we've talked a lot about this, is that trying to go back to what was originally approved may prove difficult at this point because of the way it was constructed. Am I?
Yes, yeah.
So what you're trying to do is figure out a solution based off of how it was constructed, but how it can comply with the UDO. And if it is a solid brick foundation, you're going to need to see samples. You're going to need to make sure that it is, I guess, is that what y'all are waiting? Is that what the concern is, the sample, the brick? Or is it more about, because a solid brick foundation isn't a permitted foundation or underpinning, I guess, under the UDO?
The main concern is that I don't know that they could even do a full brick foundation given the water table condition.
They'd have to change the water table. They'd have to add brick to it has to be all the way across, and the water table has to come out, so
it covers over it.
This is the water table right here.
this is the water table.
The
The little stuck out.
Yeah, this wouldn't be there if this was here. This would be for the back.
So it wasn't even constructed to go by our original approval, is what I'm hearing?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think that falls on us, or the cost doesn't fall on us.
Mr. Chairman, and this is unusual for me to try to speak this much, but just a follow-up question so I can kind of understand better in case y'all need guidance. If to do the full brick facade as requested, they're going to have to modify what is in existence right now. And to do what has already been approved, they're going to have to do similar modifications?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's where so that's where the
So,
conundrum
So
comes
it's
up.
going to be hard on the builder either way, but if it wasn't even built correctly,
If the expectation is go back, all the way back to the original approval, I mean, that the ship left when the foundation was poured. So you really can't go back and edit the foundation
Unless you
away.
change it to thin brick.
But thin brick would provide the look of the original approval, but they wouldn't be able to get the boards in because the boards would project. I mean, they'd basically be in the same plane with the brick.
So there's really no way to go back to the original.
Right.
No.
So thin brick provides like kind of an in-between where it is a full brick, but the brick face, that appearance is in the proper plane that we would want to see. But you'll never be able to get any sort of hog penning between it.
Yeah, it won't look right. There won't be enough depth to it.
so how do you connect a brick with one of those piers where some of the piers have a half a brick to make it?
Well, the piers would
Even.
have to go.
So they have to take everything down and redo it.
Well, they might be able to apply brick on top of that, another thin brick on top of that brick, or apply full brick. Full brick is probably the way to do it in between. And do the water table on top of that.
Well, I mean, that's not, we're always arguing to get
What
the
else
brick
is
back.
there? I'm
And
trying to give
the
options.
thin brick all the way around is the option.
I think I think y'all need to provide the options.
Well, that's, again,
Approve or not approve.
It's a solid foundation, so.
that's what.
Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
So the intent is to go to the solid brick foundation, and to flush that out, I agree, it should all be in the same plane. And that's, to get that to work, I think what you're saying, Tim, is to thin brick it out, to get it all in that same plane, and we have to make sure it courses out and those kinds of things, and make sure it's looking appropriate like it's at the corners, but again, the request is to go to a solid brick.
So that's still a very substantial change. They're talking about, to do these piers, they actually have to take these fabrics out and feather that in, and it's not.
Right, so that's
It's a lot of work.
what I was trying to figure out, if we can we approve the idea of a full brick foundation, provided there's details and samples
Yeah.
given before the work is done, but that's kind of our,
Charlotte, do you need the motion at this meeting? Are we at the point where we need to make a determination today, or is this something I could withdraw after the discussion?
Like that's a legal question.
This obviously this is a project that's in middle of construction right now, so I can understand why they're wanting an answer as soon as possible, but if you are not able to answer those and the HPC doesn't feel comfortable with the information provided tonight to be able to render a decision, you can request from the applicant. And if the applicant doesn't want to have it tabled, you can deny that application and they'll be required to figure out a way to go back to the original approvals. Because currently as I understand it, currently they are not in compliance with the existing code that's been approved by the HPC in the town of Bluffton. You also have the option, if it is a question about materials and something that you believe, if the rest of the HPC is fine with a solid brick foundation, in theory, HPRC may be able to review the materials to make sure that it's compliant so that they don't have to go through the process of coming to HPC again. And it's a little bit quicker of a turnaround.
okay,
Can I ask
Yeah,
Charlotte, is the request to keep it the way it looks now?
Correct.
Yeah, it's not to add or anything. The request is to leave it the way it currently looks.
well, but we could add as a condition, we approved the.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, because
Yeah.
I keep hearing would they do this, but they're not asking, they're asking to
To
keep
keep it
it.
the way that it is.
Well, they're asking for a full brick foundation. How it gets done is.
No, they're asking how it looks currently. They want to leave it the way it is, which is a full brick foundation.
Right, but we could, I guess what I'm saying is there's an opportunity for us to say, we approve the idea of it, not in this current
Right.
state, but with another detail provided, the HPRC, and with the material provided, and so on and so forth, so that we don't, I'm trying to avoid having this come back to the HPC again, because.
I don't think we're at that point right now.
Okay. Is everybody okay with the brick foundation, with the full brick foundation?
No. Is brick, is a full brick allowed?
You know,
Does the
for
UDO
if,
state that? I mean,
not,
the biggest-
not in straight text, but to be consistent with kind of the development pattern and the,
We're
you
talking
know,
about-
historic cottages in town having brick piers with the pinnings in between is very much a part of Bluffton. And solid brick
Absolutely.
foundation is not.
Then if a solid brick foundation is not, and again, we are setting a precedent, then no.
But I think the trick is that they're at, the way that the project has been set up from the way the slab was installed, is that they are kind of stuck with a solid foundation, most likely.
Yeah, I don't know where you go from here. You know, can't go back to the original just because it's foundation, it's concrete, it's under the house, it's almost finished.
But again, that sets the precedent that you can come in, get something approved, go back out in the field, start building, say, I do not like it, and change it without coming back to the town of Bluffton.
I'm not saying that we keep what they have now. I think they will agree that needs to be modified. We're trying to, I mean, they have to have some way to modify it. Yeah, that's feasible. I don't think we're in a disagreement that, you know, it's not gonna stay.
Yes.
So
It doesn't sound like,
it's not a solution. And it's gonna be hard no matter what. It's not an easy solution no matter what.
it doesn't sound like some people are going to approve this until we understand what exactly they're going to do. And we're denying the row lock, obviously. So until we have that information, I don't know what we can possibly vote on.
So we're probably leaning towards a denial unless you'd like to request the motion be tabled. I'm sorry. It's not your problem, unfortunately, but
No, it's just the other aspects of it as well. I mean, if this was a full project during design, a denial, you have to make a pretty substantial change in the design to come back. Is that the requirement the same in this case?
I mean, if it's denied, it's denied like any other application. I mean, they have appeal rights. But from a timing perspective, having it tabled is, generally speaking, a much quicker turnaround. It's about getting it back before the HPC as quickly as possible. And it sounds like rather, you know, what was presented and what was applied for was, as Commissioner Solka pointed out, was to keep what had been done. And HPC's doesn't seem inclined to grant that. A theoretical solid brick foundation, I think, is now being proposed, but the HPC wants to know how it's going to be done and how they're proposing to actually accomplish that with materials, just like you would in a design process. I want to see the brick and how it's actually going to be built out. So I think tabling would be the simpler way to go about doing that, and the quicker process.
We will table the application.
okay, thank you. I'm gonna make a motion to table the discussion. Any just further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion table. Thanks, Jason.
Point of information, Charlotte. If there are things like this that happen, what does the town have? You don't get the CO, right? Because you don't, say this happened and it was over, you called it and they didn't do anything. I mean, what are the repercussions on this? Because this is something someone someone can do a lot just to get their way down the road once this board sits here for the time it does and y'all work the way you do. What are the repercussions?
We do rough and final inspections, so we should be able to catch some of this.
You wouldn't give them a CO? Is that, there's no fine, there's no penalty, do we?
I'm not familiar with that. Whatever has not been complied with, if it's not in compliance with the COFA, then we'd flag that and say we can't move forward without an approval. And some things can be done at staff level, and in this case, we were not comfortable doing that at staff level. So we would require HPC approval for the amendment.
Okay.
106 Bridge Street.
Thank you. The final item tonight is a request from Ansley Manuel of Manuel Studio for Jeffrey Zahil, the owner. The property is located at 106 Bridge Street. The proposal is to construct a new two-story single-family residence of approximately 2,618 square feet with a detached two-story carriage house, 1,161 square feet. And the property is in Old Town, Zone Neighborhood General. And here you see the property in brown. And what does not show up, and this is probably not, and I'll show you a better view in just a moment, but there is an unopened right-of-way here, what we term a ghost road. And so that doesn't show up on this particular view. The property is directly across from Oyster Factory Park. The property was subdivided, and we did identify this Garrard Avenue that you see here as an unopened road or a ghost road. In the process of developing a strategic plan back in 2025, one of the action items was to identify the road ownership of these ghost roads and to have a maintenance policy. And these roads will allow the town to extend water and sewer facilities throughout Old Town. And because these roads lack clear title, we need to obtain that from the owner of all three of these properties. The Garrard Avenue right-of-way is roughly 30 feet in width. And here you see, this is the unopened road. And the property you see here with this very large oak, I believe it's 84 inches diameter at breast height. And so the applicant has had some challenges with this property because of the ghost road and the height, or excuse me, the live oak and wanting to preserve that. So the placement of the house and the carriage house has been a little bit of a challenge, and we recognize that in this application, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. So this is what was provided with the staff report. The front here, the front elevation will face into Bridge Street. This is viewed as an additional building type because although it has vernacular characteristics, it was a bit too large for that particular building type. The right elevation that you see here will be along Girard Avenue. I keep mispronounce. I say it both ways, so I believe Girard Avenue. And you can see the building here at the front block is 23 feet, 9 inches. There is the connector, and then the smaller block in the rear is 20 feet, 10 inches. And the elevations at the rear, this would be the north elevation, and then the left elevation, which would be facing into that very large live oak. So the applicant, here's more information regarding the carriage house. And the carriage house is where we've had the most concern with this application. The height is shown as 24 feet, 8 inches, which is slightly taller presently than the main house. And we have some concerns regarding the complexity of the roof and the height, and then some concerns related to some other elements, and I'll talk about that in a moment too. So the applicant did provide an update based on the report that was provided, and so I wanted to go ahead and present that to you tonight to show that they've attempted to respond to the staff report. So what you can see here is that they've added a dormer on the front elevation. They are suggesting that the foundation be raised approximately 8 inches so that the ridge line is consistent with the carriage house. The brick chimney is proposed now to be tabby. The right elevation, they've changed a window to match the other two windows here, and that was one of the conditions or the considerations we asked the applicant to take a look at. And again, you can see here the dormer and the carriage house, and you can see this is the porch overhang, which seems very substantial. Let me go back to the plan for a moment, too. The proximity of the carriage house was also a concern to the main house. But again, this site is very constricted, and so it's been a bit of a challenge placing both the main house and the carriage house. The rear elevation, the applicant added some shutters, and then they also added a window on the carriage house, which at the ground level, which is the garage. The main structure, the height dimensions were not I provided this as information in case we need to take a look at it for both the main house and the carriage house. Floor plan, if we need to see it, I know it's very light, but if we need those details, they are available for both the carriage house and the main house. And the sections have been provided also. Again, very light, so I'll need to zoom in if you need to see any of those details. The review criteria, there are 4 criteria, and there are some determinations, again, that would need to be made, as with other applications tonight. And for the review criteria to be met, those determinations would need to be made, and there would need to be compliance with conditions. So the findings by staff relate to determinations, the siting of the carriage house to the main house. They seem very close in proximity, and staff felt uncomfortable with that, how they were sited. The height of the carriage house presently is taller than the main house. According to the UDO, the carriage house should be the secondary, but again, the site is constricted and there may be some room for consideration of that 2-story carriage house. The complexity of the roof line, and then the lack of windows, which the applicant has already adjusted. Conditions, some of these conditions have been met based on the elevations that I showed you. One of the conditions is prior to any disturbance on Girard Avenue right-of-way, including but not limited to tree removal, that the town of Bluffton approval must be obtained. Provide chimney cap detail. Provide details related to the staircase. We don't have materials regarding the railings. The applicant did include a front porch railing on the main house, and so there would need to be details as well. The fixed windows on the main house, the request is to change those to casement windows because fixed windows are not allowed by the UDO unless the HPC accepts that. And then also I want to point out regarding the setback, to relocate the main house 5 feet from the property line and to not allow the chimney to be closer than 3 feet. I did not include that in the staff report, but I do want to show on the plan that the house is shown right up against the property line, which has the eaves extending over into the Girard right-of-way, Girard Avenue right-of-way, and that the chimney is also located in the right-of-way. So the house would need to be relocated at least 5 feet west so that it doesn't encroach into the right-of-way. And I'd be glad to go back through any of these slides, talk about any of the conditions. As you know, you can approve with conditions, you can approve as submitted or deny the application. And we have a motion to help assist you. But again, anything I can go back over. Any questions, be glad to answer.
Question? Yeah.
Charlotte, since we just beat the foundation to death on the last one, What is the foundation since they raised it? Is it, it looks like tabby
It's
with the
tabby shell
hogboard.
with louvers, and they are recommending that it be increased in height 8 inches. It does meet the requirement of the 36 inches, or the 30 inches now, but they'd like to add an additional 8.
It'll be 38 inches.
Correct.
Okay, I just want, it looks like tabby, but I just want to make sure.
And it's also on a crawl space, so there's not
It's on
a slab
piers, too.
situation.
No way to
fake the livers.
Yes, yes, I knew that, I saw that. Okay.
Okay. The pushing back from Gerard would also necessitate relocating the carriage house, correct?
I would assume so.
Yeah, that's gotta be clean now.
Do we have questions, any more questions for staff? Ask questions to the applicant, not for staff.
Okay.
And then the height of the carriage house is a concern as well, correct? It's taller, the height of.
As drawn, yes, but they are suggesting that the foundation be raised to the main house.
To fix that, okay.
But does that make the main house taller than the carriage house, or are we asking for relief on that?
I think there's probably some issue with that with the tree overhang too. We can't raise the main house too much because that tree overhangs
Yeah, the direction of it.
of the house. So I think there needs to be some consideration there.
The
Under
8
the roof of the carriage house be decreased to bring it down?
I think these are questions for the applicant.
But it looks like the 8 inches, there was an 8-inch difference between the house and the carriage house, so they will now be equal. Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? Would they like to present? Or answer some questions?
Hi, Ansley Manuel, the architect, and Mr. Bell is here, the homeowner, and Patrick Mason, the builder. Regarding, I guess we'll start with where the house is sitting as far as the side property line that adjoins the 30-foot right-of-way. We had discussions, I'd have to find the email, where we were going to be allowed, because of the live oak, to shift it closer than the 5-foot setback. That was my understanding. So if I can find that email and that discussion, do you remember it, Mr. Zell?
Moving the house right up to the property line.
Yes. That the town could approve that in an effort to save the live oak.
But you're over the property line.
My recollection,
And that if the eave needs to be pushed back, that would be 24 inches of a shift back. But now I'm being told we have to go back 5 feet. And that was not my understanding after I left the preliminary and had more discussion with what the town had allowed so that the house could be further away from the live oak.
I mean.
It's tough for you all to
I wasn't there
afford.
for the additional conversations, but when I remember we talked about going a little closer than the 10-foot setback, but not all the way to the property line. I think we probably did talk about 5 feet because the goal in the discussion was that the 10 feet side setback for this house will be a 10-foot build to for the other houses down the street, and that there'd be, a porch and some stairs and 5 feet of planting in front of those houses. And to bring everything in a line, you would be 5-foot setback from the property line here.
Well, then there was discussions after that through emails to go to the town official that had approved getting closer. And I'm going to have to find them, and I know I've put y'all on the spot here because I'm on the spot here too about this.
Can I ask you this about the shift forward? The plan also got quite a bit deeper. I mean, the kitchen was much narrower in the original design when we were reviewing it. That's just kind of my recollection. I didn't have it digitally, so you brought in plans.
No, I don't think so. that 20-foot width.
It seems like the kitchen was more squeezed in my recollection of it. No. So everything
Not
just
from my
shifted.
preliminary.
Okay.
And what may be confusing is, I'm not sure you didn't have two preliminaries because the project
There was a
changed
period
to
where I
me.
was on
I wasn't
HPC
the
and then
original
not because we had
architect.
not realized vice chair was not part of that process.
The carriage house got shifted to accommodate the camper. But other than that, accommodate the camper. But other than that, I didn't really change much, other than I introduced more of a slight H shape. H shape to, instead of just a U, because the U wasn't allowing on the, let's see if I can get to it. Might not know how to do this. I need to go to the elevation along Gerard Street. How do I change that?
Just hit the arrows.
Oh,
right
okay,
hand.
all right. Yes, so see the right elevation? Before it was a totally like a straight wall because it was a U-shaped building, but I made a slight H so that I could pop the two hips out and have the connector. But other than that, not much has changed from the preliminary. We did discuss making it all hips, and that did change. I guess, in agreement with some of the, yes.
Well, you can't have an eave or a chimney outside of his property line.
Yeah, I understand, I have to shift it
And
at
I
least
could
24
see you
inches.
push the carriage home back to, if that's going to be a fence back there, I'd sooner give you relief off that west setback. That tree is super important. I did reach out to Mayor Toomer, because I know he and I talked about this months ago, and he also felt like he was in agreement it would be 5 feet, not straight to the property line. He was shocked to hear this was going to the property line when I talked to him yesterday, and I know he doesn't have control over this, but because I was somewhat aware, I love the one story. Thank you. I love one story. That's what we should be. But, and that is going to be a road one day. That is going to go all the way through. And I got that through from council last night. So it's not going to be a no-through road one day. It is going to be a paved road with sewer and water going down it when they have the money. It does look bigger than the plan. I sat with Charlotte and I saw another plan, and it looks like when y'all moved it closer, you made it bigger. It really does. That master looks bigger. And it could just be my novice eyes. I don't know. And I believe you when you say that. I just think you've got to build around that tree, not build a house and the tree is just a secondary thought. That's a huge tree. And the next lot's going to have a worse tree because it's right in the middle. So I don't know how you address all that and push it back. And I'm sorry about a camper. I mean, you got to fit the house. What's more important, getting it approved and pushing it back and figuring out a camper. The camper really doesn't matter to us so much, I think. So I don't know how you push it back without hurting the tree, without making it longer, without taking away the U, the Y, the H as opposed to a U. But you can't build over that line. And it is going to be shocking to the next two that come before us. Where are they going to put the stairs? Because they're going to be front facing and you're side facing that road.
So, let's go back to this site plan.
Charlotte, I think she needs help.
Picking it out. So shifting, if I have to shift the house back 5 feet again, closer to the tree, it's not, there's no issue with the main house shifting if it has to go, if I can't find the language I got from the town, but now the carriage house is, they're almost going to be touching.
Well, and to Lisa's point about the camper, I mean, is there a way to to mirror the stair and have the stair over on the side setback, because that can be over the setbacks.
Or what's that little bump out? Is that-
So we thought about that too. The bump out is a storage area and the service yard. And when I initially thought I was going to have to shift the main house 2 feet for the eave, I thought, well, we can adjust some of the storage shed and the service yard that's behind the carriage house. Does everyone see that? Right here. And if the service yard gets to go beyond the 5-foot setback, Charlotte?
It can go within three? Within
We
three.
can swap the service yard, and I could start to put the shed over here, and I can get that carriage house a little further away again, like shift both buildings.
Yeah.
Because when the camper wasn't in the mix, I mean, the original design we reviewed, I remember the carriage house relationship was tight and it was different.
Right.
The carriage house was shoved in the corner, but I felt like it kind of had a little twist and turn, like it could be a little, if you got the right landscape in there with a little thought, it could be all right. Kind of a little entry path that opens towards the live oak. But, I mean, for me, the setback from the street's pretty important, and more important than having a giant paved area.
And
for
we're
a
talking about 3
RV.
feet. I mean, it's 2 feet is given, so it's 3 feet difference, so we have to shift it back. We have to shift it back 2 feet to get in property.
Yes, we are going to have to shift it back 2 feet for the eve, but
Talking about 3 feet difference.
do I have a second to check my emails? It was Dan Frazier that was, hold on a second.
I mean, I appreciate if there's an email from staff on this, but I think as a board, yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty much like it needs to be set back. When you consider that there are going to be 2 more houses behind this, and they are going to have stairs that can't go over the property line, and they're going to be set at least 4 feet back to have plantings. I mean, you can't have 0 side yard plantings because you can't just rely on the right of way to provide your buffer.
And while you're looking, Ansley, we met with Dan yesterday. And he did talk about where the road bed would be and what he needed. Sewer's gonna go on that side from the north end, water's coming up from the south end. He seemed a bit shocked it was so close. He didn't seem to say that. I think he would have told us when he sat with us. Could you put that storage yard on while you're looking, and I know you're trying to, you can multitask.
I'm not going to be able to find it.
The service yard or whatever that back little hoop, couldn't it also come off the right rear side, just to give more space for whatever vehicles may come later? And then that gives you a lot of room to move that carriage home back, even if you can go within the setback of 5 feet a little bit, rearrange that and put it to the right there, where you see it in a lot of garages, where you have a little storage place on the longer wall. It just gives you more room. And if you can move that, then you can move that house. Well, you're going to have to move the house back.
Okay. All right, so we're going to have to ask the...
Yeah, the only problem with that is the camper's 18, it's a teardrop camper. You see them, they go down like that in the back, and it's 18 feet long and it's about 8 feet wide. But if you open the door, you can't just be 8 feet, so it's got to be another 1.5 feet. So that space back there has got to be 10 feet. So.
But you've got more space in front of the garage. It's just not going to fit nice and tight and hidden on the garage. You're going to probably have to come out a little bit.
Trying to keep it out of the driveway.
I know, but you want a house and a carriage house and a camper. I mean, I think you're going to have to move something, because the biggest hurdle is that they're parts of your house not on your land.
What is that shed, is that a given, the depth of that? Can that shrink down a foot? And can you take a foot out of the house? I mean, we're talking 3 feet, there's things that you can.
What are we trying to move here, this chimney on the left side?
The whole house.
Whole
Yeah.
house.
Right now it's on the property line.
Yeah, the
That's over the
green
property
is
line.
the street, the right of way, and there needs to be 5 feet between the green and the blue. If they were to install a street, the street's like 22 or 24 feet wide, and then it's Old Town, so we'd want sidewalks. And if you had a sidewalk, then, and you really want a little grass strip between the street and sidewalk, then your sidewalk is against the house, which is why it needs to be pushed back.
I mean, is there any way to move that carriage house back?
That's kind of a question you guys
The
need
other
to
thing-
step back and answer, I
Other
think.
question is, Lisa mentioned that this is going to be a paved road and it's already set in place. But before Charlotte said that they're still looking for the title of who owns that ghost road.
So, if I may comment on the ghost roads, so the ghost roads are roads that have been in existence for, well over 150 years. And they have unclear title because the records at that time were destroyed when the courthouses were burned down in the 1860s. So there have been questions as to the title at the time, and those are publicly dedicated, publicly accepted roads, and they have been for years. It's an issue that's been in a number of communities in South Carolina, and they're generally dealt with by trying to get deeds from adjacent property owners or through other avenues. But at this point in time, and it's been held out for a couple of decades now by Bluffton Town Council, these are publicly dedicated right-of-ways. They're considered publicly owned, and there's just not a record of title because they were all done in the 1840s.
But it's a mission, and that's why I called Mayor Toomer, because I didn't know what had changed in a year, and he said nothing. And the goal of council is to own these roads and not sell them and not give them away, and to eventually, because of the whole grid. And actually, I got to give credit to Mayor Toomer, because this was 4 lots. This used to be 4 lots on this property, and he really thought out of the box to think about doing it this way rather than like 4 panes. So,
If I can, Mayor Toomer was in on this discussion.
oh, I know, I called him last night to ask him about this, because I was shocked that, and he told me that he thought 5 feet, but he's not over staff as much as.
So this is what we got from Dan Frazier. Approval for this was done by the utilities company, right? Some civil engineer did this.
Yes.
And you can see there's the property line right there. I wish I could make it bigger. And the house is sitting on the property line. I knew I did not dream this up.
Well, we saw this as a larger play. This is just a utility exhibit, and that's just rectangles he drew. That nothing of that has anything to do with the project besides the general shape. And also, we are the ones who are reviewing.
And that
the public
doesn't,
reviewing the project.
and it was more your eaves of your house and your chimney, and that doesn't show on that. I think your corners are right at your property line, but your eaves of your house are going into the easement, and your chimney is going in the easement.
So he drew the house above it like it's to the property line, but it doesn't have a front porch or a stoop or anything either. So I think it's not a drawing that's about the house footprint at all.
One second.
So, Mr. Chairman, there may be one, I guess, I'm hearing there's one question about, a couple of questions, but one primary question right now, I don't think that the applicant has stated any concern about moving the building off the property line, taking it back that 2 feet. The question is, what effect, if any, is the 5-foot setback off of the ghost road? The applicant has indicated that the UDO administrator or someone in planning has granted either a waiver or something similar to allow them basically a 0 lot line setback on this, despite the UDO saying 5 feet. I I'm not aware of anything, but I'm not discounting the applicant. So I do think,
It was just for the sake of the live oak, and it was definitely discussions.
Yeah,
The idea was to push it further from the
And
live
they-
oak. Now we're going back the other way.
So
I mean-
had to pay for the engineering to get.
Okay, so.
Speak up in the mic.
All right, Patrick Mason. The, I think the whole query is, and I believe that we should at least be the 2 feet over, so the overhang does not encroach. And so we're talking about 3 feet. So I love the idea of moving the tool shed to the right, like Ms. Stokel said. And if we do that, then we're allowed to push the garage further back. And so if we can have a little bit of relief on that back line, then I think we're set. We've got the 5 foot off, and we just need maybe a foot or so relief on the back side of the garage, and we're all set. We've got the right distance of the house away from the carriage house. I mean, there's been plenty of carriage houses that we've had that were between 48 inches to 5 feet between the house and the carriage house, so and down. So this will be more than that. So, and I think that kind of solves the problem. It gets us 5 feet off the property line.
I mean, I think there's ways to react, for you guys to go back and react in either the house design or the site plan in order to be 5 feet off of Gerard without impinging on the tree.
Yeah, I think.
But I think,
I'm going to the tree off. We move 5
I
feet.
kind of think we need to see that
I
in
mean,
the
yeah, we
drawing.
can't move the house and carriage house. I mean, what's not shown there is overhangs, which
Yeah.
are 2 feet, so that's 4 feet. I mean, right now, there's probably a foot between the overhangs. You're not seeing that on this thing, so
And if
we
it's-
can't
if it's-
really move them together any closer.
If it's thoughtful and tight, that's one thing, but if it's just kind of like,
But they're, yeah.
Who gives the ability to move into a setback further than what the UDO says, Charlotte or Richardson? Is that come from Heather?
it's generally the Board of Zoning Appeals will grant variances from the setback standards. The general rule, unless there is something in the UDO that grants the UDO administrator the ability
I
to
think
do
it
so.
does.
I don't remember if it
I've
does
gotta
or not.
look.
Yeah.
Okay, but you said you had a waiver. Do you have a waiver from Heather? Who do you have? You didn't go to BZA.
Heather Collin, that is who did
Okay,
ask
so
about
maybe
it.
Heather did.
Heather is who, Heather Collin.
She's our UDO administrator.
So,
There's a piece in the UDO that allows that because there's a tree for her to, the UDO administrator to give that, for lack of a better word, variance.
so can we discuss shifting the house so that the eaves aren't overhanging into the property line? And then if I can dig up the information for Charlotte, I know it was approved by Heather Collin, that I could be as close as Heather Collin will allow to the property line, that property line running along the Ghost Road. Whether it's 5 feet or whether it's something Heather's going to allow closer, because I know she did, just to keep this meeting going. And then, yes, we can shift the carriage house by closer to that 5 foot setback that is on, well, it's sort of the rear of the carriage house, but it's actually the left side. So this way. I can shift it this way so that we can still have some good distance, better distance between the two buildings. then are there, beyond amending the site plan, are there other things we need to discuss?
I guess we didn't really get to any
Yeah.
others.
Uh,
Did anybody?
There was, yeah, I've got them here. So the height of the carriage house, you had kind of touched on raising that. I think that goes hand in hand with kind of the roof line being busy. And I guess my question on that is, did you study at all using shed roof dormers instead of the hips, which might help to kind of reduce the scale on that?
Let's see.
It seemed to me like that might just help to kind of.
So sometimes what happens with sheds when they're dying into a hip
Yeah, I guess real
is
close.
they don't end up looking as, when the hip is lowered like it
Yeah.
is, they end up being kind of high on the,
Yeah, I think the balcony would be the tricky part.
Yep.
How you get that at such a low pitch.
so say it dies here. So then you could see here, what's going to happen to the shed is, I just think it's going to end up dying too close to what is the hip valley rafter, the hip rafter.
I still go back to, I mean, is there any, I understand the camper, you'd love to have it over there on the right side, but is there any merit in moving that stair over to the right side so you can have a more simple elevation on this side?
The stairs moving,
Moving that onto the right setback side,
let's go to the site plan.
or I guess it's the rear, depending on what's the front. Yeah,
Okay.
the right.
So you're wanting the stairs to be in here? Evan?
No, on the right side, where where the,
Neighboring lot.
on the neighboring lot,
The rear.
right there, yeah.
Yeah, the rear.
Okay, that would mean
It pushes
I'd have to
the-
put the hip over here to get an entry on that side.
Or it
Because,
doesn't have to be covered.
see how the hip dormers are higher,
Oh, I see, well, you've got the knee wall, yeah, you have to have
break that
something,
roof.
yeah.
right, so. And right now what you're saying would have to happen on the other side.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clean up that side of it so that it's not as
And-
busy on the
Unless we
Bridge
just
Street
didn't
side.
have unless the stairs just went up to an open deck that just didn't have a cover.
I don't know how you.
Well, you'd still need something to pop up to get into the door.
Right.
But
That's
you,
right.
at that point, you
I
could
have
do,
to have that.
I mean, at that point, you could do maybe a shed and just not have it.
How's everybody feeling about the busyness of the elevation? Does it feel too busy to you guys?
I'll go back to this. That's the
'Cause it
street
doesn't really
elevation. That's the Bridge Street
Bother me that
elevation.
much either.
No.
My concern is more of the side on Gerard, being able to push that carriage home back. The roof, I don't know enough about the roof to give you any input. So I would never even try it because that's not my, I trust you know what you're doing. But finding out what the way, if Heather Collin can do the UDO, you're getting a lot of variances. So but I believe in keeping that tree.
Right.
And that tree to me is more important than the size of this house or the camper or anything. So I think we build around the tree, not make the tree a second thought. So how can you move that carriage home, move that shed somewhere where you can move it back? Maybe you don't even need to go in that setback if you can move that shed on some other side of the garage and move and I really am stuck on the 5 feet. I just think the next two that come down the road, it's not going to make sense. if you don't have that 5-foot setback on the.
I mean, I agree. I mean, there's ways to make it happen. It's not, we're talking about 3 feet. You can take some from the house. I mean, has to fit on the lot, right? I mean, just, it has to. I mean, that shed in the back can get smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways to make it happen that aren't, the end of the world. I mean, it's here and there you gotta pull, but it's 3 feet.
That sound like we're leaning towards a table.
It seems to me like this is a prominent property with one of the largest trees that we have, and it's across the street from a public property, and I don't think I would feel comfortable making a motion that just puts it in staff hands and doesn't come back for public review.
I agree.
I have to.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So if can you go back to the ground
The site plan.
site plan?
See if I can find it. This way.
Because really all we're talking about is 3 feet. So if we just move the storage shed to the right, because of the way the property angles, we have the distance that we need. We push back the carriage house, and we have that extra 3 feet to push the house over. We have the 5 feet. We're all set. I mean, it's simple, but if we keep it simple, it's.
Everything's going to be on top of it. I mean, it just needs to be redrawn.
Okay.
I mean, the property was purchased with a gigantic tree on it and 10-foot setback so, I mean, you could be required to have the 10-foot setback. So, I think you guys need to take the information and think about being 5 feet off and how you want to address the tree, and if anything needs to adjust when you're 5 feet off, and reposition the garage relative to the house.
But in the meantime, if I do get confirmation from Heather that we are allowed to go closer than the 5 feet, then I don't see where the board could have if Heather comes back and says, if I could find the writing, that we are allowed to be closer to an open road, then that would be the setback.
I'm surprised we didn't have that in the packet. And I know it's not on you.
No,
If Heather wrote you a waiver letter, I think we should have it in the packet to know what we're working with, and then we wouldn't go against the UDO administrator. Am I right?
You're right, yes, ma'am.
So where do we move?
I think it sounds like we're more comfortable with,
Well, I move we.
There was an encroachment permit in the package. Is everything on here, Charlotte?
not on this
drawings?
presentation.
I'm not sure, let me,
Here we go.
In the,
that was in there.
it's probably in
Narrative here?
narrative, application narrative.
You know what you're looking for, you can scroll faster. I've got the. Oh, you can move that over. You gotta, it's not touch. Just get up here and slide it over and you get to see them.
Yeah.
Hit it again. Oh, Lord.
What it is?
Hold on. Let's go back.
I'm not seeing it in the packet.
Well,
There's your narrative, there's the plat, the application, the
there's something saying encroachment permit.
The encroachment permit is for the driveway and the utilities to go through. What Heather had was a different letter. from you guys, but the encroachment was the approval for the driveway. We're approved to build the driveway.
All right, let's,
They don't go through their emails, is not.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, so I think obviously that document, whatever it is needed, whatever supporting documentation when that was granted, because if it was from this year, or if it was from a few years ago, it may be different size, but I mean, I'm assuming, but it does sound like, again, the commission would prefer that this be tabled, they would be redrawn so that you can actually make sure that that live oak is being protected and that the setbacks and UDO requirements, legal obligations are being met. So, but that's, again, it's up to the applicant to see whether the applicant is willing to table this or.
And I'm just asking for feedback on if I can get you all the letter from
I think if we
Heather,
could
and she
see
says,
the-
yes, I will allow you to go
Yeah.
up to 2 feet.
And
then
that's
there
up
shouldn't be
to
an
her.
issue
I
with
know
you
that
all
we probably
in an
wouldn't.
effort to save the letter.
Yeah. I think we would still appreciate, like, see if you can pull a foot out of it or 2 feet out of the master or
Okay.
something just to show in good faith that
It would be
we're doing
nice to
everything
have
we
a
can.
dimension between the house and the tree, for
Okay.
one. And I think everybody was in agreement it needs to be further away, so if we're pushing back towards, I think there needs to be some.
Yeah, some study in that.
Architecturally, are there any, is there
I think the house looks
anything
great.
other than what I already marked up? Is there any issue I need to resolve before we
Yeah, since we didn't really get to all that.
I think what you did was fabulous.
Thank
I think you're a fabulous architect.
Thank you.
But I think we've got to go by what we're given in our packet. And if Heather gave that as the UDO administrator, and say it did that, we still have to worry about the eave and the chimney, you know?
Right.
And that's part of the house. So she might say it right up to the property line, she might, but you still got to push it back to cover that. But I think your work is always on target. But I think we've got to maybe sit down with the owner and to see where, where you can make it work on that lot. Our lots are not big.
Okay.
You didn't buy a 5-acre lot, it's a small lot on a street that is going to be paved one day.
Thank you, Lisa. I just wanted to make sure I didn't rework the site plan and come back and you all had an issue with
Architectural
the
comments.
architecture.
Yeah, no, I get
Go ahead
that.
and tell
That's
me
fair.
now.
I think you're missing a couple details we'd like to see as far as what the garage doors are gonna be, because it looks like flat panels, like the door schedule seems to be missing, so there's a couple items that if we can get clarity on. I think the architecture overall, I think it's come a long way.
I think I wanted to have a discussion about the dormers on the carriage house. I lean towards that. It's got a lot going on, but I think it's not too busy because you sort of need the dormers in order to keep the overall height down.
Yeah,
Maybe you guys sort of were leaning that way as well.
Any other comments or questions about the architecture in general?
Like I said, it's more information in garage doors and door.
And, address anything that was in the, in your staff
Yes.
comments that was not scratched out.
Okay. Would you like to request a table?
Do you have any, Mr. Zell did find the communication from,
Oh, from Heather, yeah, she just said she's agreeable to that, and she sent that off to Dan, apparently. So I mean, Heather,
There was an email from the UDO administrator saying that she would be willing to consider a waiver based on the preservation of the tree, but it was going to be contingent upon final submittals and looking at the final plans.
She wanted to see where the utilities ran.
And see where the utilities ran. So obviously, in speaking with the property owner, just recommended that he and the applicant coordinate with staff to get something more definitive for your consideration when it's presented to you next. So to work.
That's fair. Okay.
all right, so if we table it, we can come back quicker than if it gets denied. If it's denied, we have to go through a lot more.
So can we come back?
So what's table mean, coming back when?
Depends on, yeah.
Generally speaking, I will speak a little bit for staff and been to these meetings, they like these applications to be in about a month before the next meeting. So, over the next 3 weeks, they're going to be reviewing the applications and trying to get feedback in advance of the next September HPC meeting. Typically, when things are tabled, it's about a 2-month turnaround. If it's just typical, but it's going to also depend upon when y'all can get your designs and everything revised and drawn up and resubmitted. So it's a little bit at your schedule, and as long as it gets into.
For the September meeting was today.
Consider landscape architects in Europe.
I'm trying to be calm, I really am. But I don't know if you all know that this is over 2.5
years. 2.5 years.
back and forth, sideways this way, we've done everything, and now it's gonna be pushed. I got a fiance that left Richmond Hill and Savannah, took a job in Bluffton, now she's driving an hour back and forth. We were supposed to have this house done at least a year ago now. So that's gonna get pushed back even more. I mean, I can't even explain how frustrated I am. I don't know why we can't do what Patrick just said. Move the house, take that little corner, push that back. It's not encroaching on anything.
I'm thinking through, if we voted with conditions, you've heard 2 of commissions saying they'd want to see it, you'd still have to come back. I mean, you'd still have to bring it back. If we voted tonight on conditions on just what your builder said, it would still have to come back. I mean, I heard.
Well, it could just be approved at the
But I don't
staff
think they're
level. If you
comfortable with-
approve it with conditions, then Charlotte is, that's my understanding. If it gets approved with those conditions, Charlotte's able to review it.
But I believe that's what was said, they're not comfortable with staff reviewing it, wanting to see.
Right, that's the
what those-
difference.
Yeah.
The 2 members are saying they're not comfortable with it just being approved on a staff level.
So we can take a vote if you'd like.
Is there a way that she can make those moves of the pieces of the house and the carriage house and get that brought in like in a week and be on the September meeting?
Is there a way it can be proved at the
We
HPRC
can't,
level?
that's a question for staff.
No.
Yeah.
She just said that today was the deadline for September.
I mean, the schedule that you guys approved last year.
Right.
It's the
Yeah,
submittal schedule.
it's already, yeah.
How about HPRC?
Yeah.
Y'all know our thoughts. If comfortable, you'd represent us. I'm trying to find a medium. I get it, but we just saw it tonight, so I don't know I don't know what you've been through, and I'm sorry about it.
And HPRC really saw plans last month. So, HPRC saw plans last month, or like a month and a half ago. It hasn't been a long
If we're asking for
time.
them to be
Right.
redrawn, then they need to come back.
There's still a little bit of coordination between what's going on with the utilities though, and making sure that there's, I mean, Heather said she might be open to it if she sees what the utilities are
And
going
that's,
to be installed.
so that was the utility plans that you got.
Yeah, that was taken care of a month ago or more.
Okay.
And we have the permits for the driveway and the utilities already, and the access. So that's all been done, and you have that in your package.
If y'all are comfortable with HPRC, then we could review it at that level.
I mean, it has to be at least that.
Yes, yeah, no, I agree.
I'd like you to approve it based on it being redrawn.
Okay, then, okay, so then we're gonna look for a motion to approve
I
with
made my one motion.
staff with conditions as stated by staff with I guess I'm making a motion, I'll go ahead and make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application as submitted with staff recommendations, given that the applicant resubmits drawings to the HPRC when they're ready to show that they have tried to move back the house and shrink it a little bit, and also that we would have approval, something written from UDO administrator.
Before there's a second. Obviously, the staff condition had to do with you have the 2 feet, you've got to come back, at the very least. And Charlotte, would you mind pulling up the conditions, just so everybody's aware, because this one's been moving around a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a small lot with a huge
Large tree.
On it, that's creating a lot of issues. So you've got the 4 determinations that need to be made, and then looking at the conditions, there's 9.
Yeah, some of the conditions have been complied with.
Phew.
I mean, I would add that there should be bridge footings too.
Well, we can make a second motion.
So I would say if you do
Ended?
let that, or just let that motion die for lack of a second.
Yeah, sure.
Start by dealing with the determinations. A motion that the following determinations are approved, and y'all can go through those. And then the second one, we'll do a motion with staff conditions and then 2 additional conditions. The footings, I think Commissioner Paul mentioned, and then that the redesign plans go to HPRC for full discretionary approval as to the size, scope, and impact on the tree, and ensuring that it's met all setback requirements. And I can help y'all with that when it comes time.
Okay.
So if y'all want to start with motion number 1.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion on the determinations of 106 Bridge Street that include the location of the carriage house in relation to the main house, the height of the carriage house, the roof line of the carriage house, and the lack of window fenestration of the front elevation.
Of the carriage house.
Oh, it got struck through.
It did.
And it's a motion to approve those determinations.
Do we have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Okay.
Are these,
Yeah. All in, speak. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Determinations are passed. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired.
And then the second one would be a motion to approve with conditions as set forth in the staff report and as updated with the 2 additional conditions. The addition to add
Bridge footings.
and that the application and the plans be brought to HPRC for full and final approval, and full discretion as to setbacks, house size and scale and massing, and impact on the tree.
Make a motion to say that.
I
Is that
would say
okay?
so moved. Yes, you can.
So moved, okay. Is there-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is passed.
okay, the last item, not yet. Just very quickly, we had 3 site feature permits. They're listed here in a chart. I don't need to go over them. And that's all we have for this evening.
Okay, any questions? All right, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.